me and Ross, the original guitarist of the Happy Fits, who's no longer in the band, we
Hmm.
released our first EP, Awfully Appealing, and just put it out on Spotify. And then basically we went to school, we both went to college, and like 2 weeks later it started like charting on like the USA Viral 50 and like the global
Oh my
yeah.
God, really?
Yeah, because yeah, I think back in the day in 2016, playlists meant a bit more, so we were on like Fresh Finds, I think is what did it for us.
Bringing it backward.
Going good, going good.
Right on.
Sorry for missing you that first time.
Oh, it's all
We
good.
were, we were unexpectedly traveling through France the
Oh,
whole day, and I had no service the whole day.
oh, bummer. Well, all good,
Yeah.
man. I'm glad we're able to, get it to work out today.
Yeah, man. Really stoked to be here.
Sweet. I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the band and the new album.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
You always kind of start off with your origin story. Are you from Jersey, born and raised in?
Um, yeah, born and raised in New Jersey, West Jersey, so not the Jersey Shore part, more of like the farmlands and the rural area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I grew up on a really nice like DIY farm that my dad made. He was like super into gardening and growing vegetables and stuff. And like, right around me is just like farm animals, horses,
Uh,
cows. That's kind of the area I grew up in.
oh, that's rad. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Do you come from a musical family at all?
It kind of skipped a generation. My grandfather, he was like an amateur violinist, so I think he went to like the University of Miami for or something for like a classical violin scholarship.
Okay.
He tried to get his kids to play, so that would be my dad, and they're a bit tone deaf. So they played as kids, and no one took it further than that. And then basically, I have two older siblings. Older sister Justine, she's 6 years older. My brother is 2 years older, Andrew.
Hmm.
My sister, she plays piano. My brother, he plays violin and piano, and he's a conductor as well. And
Oh,
like
wow.
basically, when I reached like six, my parents were like, "All right, you have to choose an instrument." So I chose piano and cello, so that we could like play chamber music together. So that was kind of like my first band was with my siblings.
That's rad. Wow. So
Yeah.
everyone in your family's musical. It's, I mean, yeah, like you said, it skipped a generation.
Yeah. Yeah,
Your
yeah,
parents are like, all right, well,
my
everyone in this family is going to be musical.
yeah, my brother and my sister definitely pushed me, like I was pretty desperate to not be like the youngest one who couldn't play music. So
Sure.
they were great to have around. Like they were, just like eons like better than I was, and that really pushed me growing up to keep up with them.
That's awesome. Did you stay doing piano and you still play cello, but like, did you stay with piano like through middle school, high school, all the way into college and all that?
Yeah, my last year of like serious classical piano study was probably like eighth grade. But still play for fun. I write mainly on guitar and piano, so yeah, I owe like everything to like to my piano teachers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
That stuck with me growing up.
When did you start writing your own songs?
Um, it started like as like just like silly songs that I would write to like, kind of like make my parents or my friends like laugh around like fourth grade. I was really into like Weird Al Yankovic. It's
Uh,
like
like
parody.
parody songs? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, that would always be like my like school project of choice would be to do like a rap or like, some kind of like pop song and like rewrite it for like, I don't know, for, the Lewis and Clark expedition or something
Sure.
like
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah. That got me like really into, like wordplay and stuff like that. And, I think it wasn't until around high school when I realized I was like, okay, I'm finding myself like spending more and more time thinking about writing music. I knew like to be like an artist or to be in a band like was really hard. So my original plan was like, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna graduate, get a degree, get a stable job, and then I'll like, then I'll dabble in releasing my own music. But the year before going off to college, me and Ross, the original guitarist of the Happy Fits, who's no longer in the band, we
Hmm.
released our first EP, Awfully Appealing, and just put it out on Spotify. And then basically we went to school, we both went to college, and like 2 weeks later it started like charting on like the USA viral 50 and like the global
Oh my
yeah.
God, really?
Yeah, because I think back in the day in 2016, playlists meant a bit more, so we were on like Fresh Finds, I think is what did it for us.
Well, sure, but I mean, even for an independent band to be found on Spotify like that, to be put on Fresh Finds is insane.
Yeah, I mean the story. Yeah, it's the story's even a little crazier. Like our first manager Tyler Miranda, who he's now a lawyer, and we have different management, but we're still great friends.
Uh-huh.
He ran a music blog back in 2016, and one of his friends told him to look up the Happy Hits playlist that was on Spotify, and he accidentally typed in Happy Fits, and our original artwork for Awfully Appealing I made on MS Paint, so it like stuck out in a very bad way.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you can look it up on Google. It's horrible.
Oh, I'm
And
gonna look it up right now.
yeah, and he saw that, he's like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This this has to be horrible." And then he listened to, I think it was While You Fade Away, and he was like, "Oh wait, this is great." And I think he had one of his friends from college was like interning at Spotify. That was kind of like the gateway or the connection we got to Fresh Finds. And later on, he reached out and he was like, "Hey, like I really love your music. I'd love to like work with you in any capacity." And yeah, then he managed us for like 2 years, and
That's
so,
crazy. So
yeah.
I'm looking at the album cover. That's
Banana?
the
Yeah, it's
banana with
crazy, yeah.
a mouth and stuff and the eyes.
Again, we just released it for like friends and family, like we didn't have any plans of, going viral. So
Right, but the fact that your album cover looked like that and the guy typed the word in wrong and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And then
Yeah.
he liked it enough to send it to
Yeah,
somebody else. What a weird chain of events. It's awesome.
I know. I honestly, I think that's probably the luckiest we've been in the entire. It was like it started off 1,000,000% lucky, and then it's just kind of been like a slow downhill from there.
Well, after okay, so you guys put that up on Spotify. Not you were a band, but it was just like you didn't think that was gonna be like,
Yeah.
It wasn't like this is the band that's gonna do it for us, because you had plans to go to college, or you were going to college, right? And you put this thing out.
Yeah, I was
You
going
both get to
to.
school and it blows up.
Yeah, I was going to school down in Macon, Georgia, at the
Okay.
Robert McDuffie Center for Strings. So I was going for a classical cello degree. And yeah, I mean, when I remember waking up like the day after it got on Fresh Finds, because it takes like a
Mhm.
day for like stats to update.
The numbers of show.
Yeah, and it was like I don't, they had just launched Spotify for artists, so like it was like went from literally like 12 streams to like 32,000 in a day, and we're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's also funny because I still have the screenshots from that time, and that time
I love that.
in American meme culture. I think we were number 3 in the USA, and the top 2 songs at the time were "Dicks Out for Harambe." So that was yeah, that was the snapshot of the times when we blew up.
That's so cool though.
Yeah, I know. Crazy was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Rest in
Like when
peace,
that's
Harambe.
happening, are you like, now you guys are all, because you said you and Ross had put that out together, just the two of you were in the band at that point?
Yeah, we didn't even get it mastered. It was just us, and then this guy, Matt Moralikas, who's a great friend of mine still. He works in LA now.
Mhm.
He had a studio in Paterson, New Jersey, and like he heard some of the demos. We'd shopped around at a few studios, and we're just like looking for someone who was like cheap and not like smelly. So I was kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
And like Matt was in this awesome band, Born Cages, and like he was willing to cut us a deal. And yeah, we spent, I think it was like 4 days at his studio. So chill, just the
Uh-huh.
chillest guy. And even to this day, we see each other whenever we go to LA. I think he's like worked with like Jacob Collier now. Like he's like, yeah, he's really
Doing things.
doing
Yeah.
things. Exactly. But yeah, honestly, I lost my train of thought there a little
Oh, no,
bit.
I was just saying, like, yeah, so you guys had put that out and it was just the two of you, and then you go your separate ways, because he didn't go to the same college as you, right?
No, he was going to University of Delaware. So
So this is happening, and then what are you guys like? Should we
Yeah,
like move
there
home
was
and make
there was
this the
like a
band or what?
yeah, there was like a week I remember of just like constantly leaving class because like something crazy just happened. Like I remember like one of them was like, "Oh my God, my mom's friend's friend knows the drummer of Dr. Dog, and he just listened to it," or something like that. And like leaving class to be like, "Oh my God." The funniest, I think, memory from that time was waking up at like 9 a.m. I was like late to my music theory class, and I got a call from literally the president of Elektra, and he called, and like I just woken up. I was like, hey, what's up? And like he was like, we want you to come in and like play for us. And I was like, oh, sick. And then like I was like such an idiot. I was like, so you guys like signing us or something? And he's like, no, like you're gonna come in and play, And like after that call, I was like telling all my friends, I was like, I think we're gonna get signed. I think they're gonna like take us on like a world tour. I think this is it. And then we played that showcase in New York in like October 2016, and then like never heard back.
Oh, so you ended up going to Elektra and doing that thing?
Yeah, we did a show, and I think that was our
Yeah.
only like record label showcase to this day. We brought all of our parents, um, and their friends, So
Yeah.
it was like 2 rows in like a tiny little like recording booth. It was like 2 rows of parents, and then like president of Elektra, like head of A&R of Elektra in the back. It was like just
That's
lining the
wild.
walls. Yeah, it was.
Were you nervous playing that show?
I was so nervous. I mean, we hadn't like played shows really. We had done like I think like 2 or 3 like charity shows over the summer, just like local stuff, because like
Uh-huh.
that was it. We were just like a local band for friends and family. And yeah, we had we were playing in like short shorts and no shoes, because Brittany Howard from Alabama Shakes plays with no shoes, so we should
Yeah,
play
she
with no
does.
shoes. Yeah. And yeah, we were just like really naive kids that like had no idea what we were doing. But yeah, I still to this day like strongly believe you need that, to make it.
Oh, 100%.
You
No,
need
that's
that
amazing.
beginning naivety to.
Yeah. So do you end up finishing school? Like, do you both finish school? Because I know with this new album, obviously there's been a lot of changes to the band, right?
Yeah, there's been quite a
So
bit.
yeah, so
So
well, I want to get into that part, but I'm just curious with once that's all kind of happening and you both are at two different schools and
yeah,
the band's like doing well online, like how do you
yeah.
end up getting back together and just saying let's just try this as a band?
So yeah, Ross dropped out after I think it was his first semester, and then for me it took me 2 semesters because basically the program I was doing there's only like 24 kids that get in, and we're an orchestra. So if I were to
Yeah.
leave, I would
If
be.
there's 23, it'd be very
Yeah,
obvious.
yeah. And it was very like they it was a full ride thing too. So like
Oh,
I
wow.
at the same time was like having a great time learning a lot. Like it was a very amazing opportunity.
Sure.
Robert McDuffie is just like this world-class violinist, and like he had his support for the band like from the start. So that meant a lot to me because like there were some like classical mentors of mine that weren't so stoked that I was doing rock and roll music.
Sure. They're like, you're
Yeah.
wasting your talent, boy.
Yeah, I think like that was like definitely like the vibe from my parents when I first told them, that I was leaving
Sure.
school. So, yeah, so it took me a year to leave, and then, in terms of like finishing school, I just have that 1 year of classical conservatory under my belt, and then over the pandemic I went back for like accounting, and I'm like half a semester away from getting a full-on accounting degree. But
Hell yeah.
things just started picking up after the pandemic, and now I'm like, one day.
Yeah, you're back in the music world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So you both end up dropping out, and then the band goes for a few years before this, newest album, a new venture.
Yeah, this is the longest we've gone without recording a record. It's been like 2 years in between each one. This one was 3. Yeah, we just went through a lot of changes. Starting with obviously, Ross leaving,
Hmm.
and then trying to find, new members, of like trying to decide what is the future of the Happy Fits? What is it going to look like? And, in come Raina Mullen and Nico Rose, like they've been with us now, I like to say like basically 2 years at this point.
Mhm.
And they've just been so awesome to work with, and like really have helped elevate, I think, this last record that we did, Lovesick.
Mhm.
It's just been yeah, it's been so different being able to work with, two amazing women who are bringing in female vocals on top of like what we already do, which is kind of just like pop rock, indie pop music. So a lot of our inspiration for this record was just like Fleetwood Mac, ABBA, like Two
Oh,
Boy, Two
rad.
Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Moms and the Papas. Like we were like almost like studying their music and the way that they harmonize to be like, okay, how do we want to attack this harmony? Do we want it to
Mhm.
sound like, the Mamas and the Papas, or, do we want to take it more in like a, classic Fleetwood Mac direction? So it gave us so many more options for
Yeah,
what we could
because
do.
you had 3 albums out before that, plus the EP that did well,
Yeah.
and, so this album, you have 2 female, or you're adding 2 people to the band, and then, like, that must have just changed everything, right? I mean, you have a
Yeah.
female vocals now, which is a big difference, and then obviously the whole, writing the album, was that different? Are you writing with them, and like, did you guys start the project
Yeah.
clean? Like, Lovesick, you're gonna go into this as just the 4 of you now as a new project, or how did that
Yeah, I'm
work?
a very like private writer. Like I need to be kind of alone by myself and like kind of isolated to,
Mhm.
to really think. When I started writing with like Ross, that process was like he would show me something on like his looper pedal that he made, just like an instrumental. And then I would take
Mhm.
that home, listen to it a million times, and try to think of like words and melodies on top of it, of, just like based off of like what does this
Yeah.
music make me feel. So, I've done some like songwriting camps too, and even in those, I'm like, I feel like kind of like the ugly duckling a little bit, because I'm like, it's just not how my brain works. I like to just like be alone. So when it comes to writing with these guys, my process is kind of like the same, where I'll work on something pretty heavily by myself. Sometimes like flesh out a demo, program like MIDI drums or something, just so I can get it to the way that I'm like, here's this way in my head, like that I've been hearing it this way for months or years or something.
Mhm.
And then once I have that and I'm happy that that version exists, then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to show it to people. I'm ready to have everyone like give their influence, make it their own. I just like need to like get that original spark out first.
Yeah.
So like a big example of that is like Lovesick, the song. That
Mhm.
one was probably the one that changed like the most. We also have like an amazing producer, Ayad Aladami, who's also our manager.
Mhm.
Um, so that song just was started as like it was kind of like a acoustic guitar intro that like led into like the rockier section of Lovesick, which
Uh-huh.
still in the song. And
Yeah.
Ayad came into the studio and he was like, I just had a dream about this song, that it should be like kind of like a doo-wop, slow 60s, like I'm trying to think of like the right song, but he was like, I just trust me on this one. We're like, all right, we'll go in there. We worked
Yeah.
on it for like 2 hours, started like caking some stuff in reverb. Started trying to sing it, a little more sultry. And I was like,
Mhm.
something's just not right. And we were basically about to give up on it. And then Raina just started singing it. And she was like also very tired because we had been working on this for hours now.
Yeah.
And just like we all immediately like stopped and we're like, oh my God, Raina, you have to sing
Ye
the intro. And it all just like came together from there. And then like the guitar solo, like having Nico just like ripping the guitar solo in that song, it just made the song feel so much like this new version of the Happy Fits.
Wow. And because this album took you, it said, I was just reading about like what you guys have put out
Yeah.
about it, like, or it was like 10 months of just a bunch of
Yeah.
mishaps, right? Some one
Yeah.
thing after another.
Yeah, it was 10 months of just trying stuff out. I mean, even down to like the mixing phase, we were kind of changing stuff. Um, you know, our mixer was really awesome, Daniel Warman.
Hmm.
And yeah, like there was like that song Wild in Love. I remember that was like one of the last ones we mixed, and we're all sitting around the booth and like, down to like the beginning of that song, I was like, oh, there's something missing. And then I was like, wait, can we add in like a little like weird little hissy like sine wave sound that sounds like a bomb is falling? And then like we just lost like another like 3 hours trying to like do that
Figure
thing
that out.
that we should have done in like production. But then like we all did it and we were very happy that we ended up doing that.
It worked.
Yeah, it's fun being able to sit with these songs, because you grow as a person within 10 months. So like being
Sure.
able to grow with the music and like change it up to the last minute, I think is really awesome.
That is. With going into this new album, were like when Reina and Nico joined the band, had you started this album already, or did they join and you guys were, I don't know, wrapping up some of Under the Shade of Green tour or something like that, and then you had or were they put in the band? Like, did you know the band was going to keep going prior to this album starting?
I'd say so. Like timeline wise,
yeah,
Ross stopped wanting to be a part of things around like middle of like 2023. So we got Reina to play Lollapalooza with us in 2023. So that was our first show with Reina.
Okay.
And Nico, she was being managed by our managers too in a different project called the Gooms. And then they started falling apart. So we asked her to, join our band. Well, actually, I think the story goes like our manager was like, "Hey, you should audition for the Happy Fits and like send them like you ripping a guitar solo or something." And like she sent it, and it was an instant like, "Okay, she rips." So,
she's
like,
in the band.
Yeah. So around that time too. So this is fall 2023 now. We're going on the last tour for Under the Shade of Green, our B and C market tour, in smaller cities. And that's when Luke started struggling a lot too with, staying sober because he'd been trying for a whole year to be sober.
Oh, wow.
So he kept falling off the wagon, and, him and I had like a really deep heart to heart. And I was just like, I think you should take this tour off and just like focus on yourself, because like it's not going to be easier on the road, and it's especially not going to be easier once you get back from tour. And like he really listened to me, and like since then we haven't looked back. So he did miss that tour, but it was for literally like everyone's benefit. Even like after that tour, after I'd seen how much he'd grown, I was like, oh, I should stop drinking too. So I also stopped drinking.
Did you really? That's awesome, man.
So
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm like 2 years sober, California sober.
Okay.
He's completely. But he just like he blossomed, and so while I was on that tour with Reina and Nico, we had Trevor Hogan, who's in this band Wall Carpets. Everyone should check it out. It's a great band. He filled in on drums literally, I want to say like a week or two before he just like learned everything, which is wild. But he was like young and hungry, and it's like I loved feeding off that energy, because like it's like, man, I miss when I was 21 and like I could just learn 21 songs like that. So yeah, we just toured like that, and it was definitely like interesting seeing the fans' reactions. They were overwhelmingly supportive. We had a few naysayers here and there of like, it's
of
just
course.
Calvin, like what's going on?
Yeah.
But like I think 99.999% of people that came out to that tour had a great time, and like we're just blown away by Nika and Reina, especially like the Happy Fits with female vocals. It just makes sense. Like
it's so cool.
So after that tour, it was actually on that tour that I left a 7-year relationship, because like I just had, there was a lot of like metamorphosis that happened on that tour. And basically Nico and Reina got to see me, basically at my lowest of lows. But that was kind of when I started writing and demoing out this next record. Because like if it was for the first time, we were growing out of like the kids that we were during the pandemic, and all the bad habits that we left behind, the drinking and the drugs, and, just trying to find responsibility and find out who I am as a person. Being on that tour by myself, being surrounded by people that were like super excited to be on tour, that wanted the show to be the best that it could be, like feeling a part of a team. That kind of like changed my whole perspective of like, oh, this is why I wanted to do this in the first place. I wanted a team. I wanted to be in this really positive environment. And that when I was on that tour and around all those people for like the first time, I was like, this is what I need every day in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that caused a lot of reflection of like, why was I, in that relationship for 7 years? If I wasn't the best person that I could be. And,
Mm-hmm.
Also at the same time, right after that tour, I moved to Brooklyn and started living alone for the first time in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot of big stuff.
Yeah, so I was single and I was in Brooklyn and I was just like felt like a little kid again of just like falling in love, like feeling butterflies in my stomach, and like that was so special to me just cuz that
Mm-hmm.
that was all the music I grew up listening to, like the Beatles. Like it's simple love songs, but it's just my favorite kind of song.
Yeah, and they're the best songs,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
And coming from Under the Shade of Green, where I'm talking about, songs like In the Lobby of like, glorifying how crazy it would be to be a shitty government lobbyist and just like,
Sure.
advocate for myself. There's songs like that. There's songs about, how it feels like the world's ending, going from that place to just going to a place of, just pure vulnerability and
Mhm.
passion felt so refreshing and kind of like a return to form for myself as a songwriter of like, this is where it all starts. I feel like for everyone is that
Yeah,
the love song, like so
and then that kind of all spilled out into the album, like all of
exactly.
the yeah.
Yeah, there was it was fun. There's songs like Cruel Power, like, when I first moved to Brooklyn and this girl, she DM'd me and we started hanging out a bunch and I was like super ready for it. And then I found out she had a boyfriend. I was like, why does she keep hitting me up to like,
Yeah.
hang out with her? And then she left for like a vacation. She was like, hey, can you watch my flowers while I'm gone and like, water them? I was like, okay. Like, sure. I was like,
Yeah,
even though you have
sure
a
I will.
boyfriend? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, that
Yeah,
song
he'll be with me. He's going
exactly.
on a trip.
Yeah. No, he didn't though. But
I'm just kidding.
yeah. So that song ended up being Cruel Power, which was like, some of the fans' favorites now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was nice being able to actually like write about, real things that actually happened to me where I think there are some love songs on like Under the Shade of Green where I was like, oh, this feels kind of like a little soulless.
I got yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Where like the spark was real when it happened. Like
When
there's a song like Sweet Things, which is like so old, like I want to say like I wrote it in like high school or something. So like when I was writing
wow.
it, it felt so real. But when I was
Sure.
recording it, there was kind of like it felt like a mental disconnect.
Like a disconnect from it. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. But like this whole record was like very fresh off of falling in
Did
love again. Yeah.
did you record it in the same place that you did the other albums, or was that different?
Yeah, we recorded this at Applehead Recording Studio in Woodstock, New York,
Okay.
which is this old converted barn, beautiful room. Like I think it's like 30-foot ceilings. Like it's
Wow.
stunning in there. Yeah. So it was engineered by Chris Bittner, who works there. And we chose that room specifically because we wanted like a big rock drum sound. Um,
Mhm.
so throughout the entire like production process, which this was my first like Happy Fits record co-producing with AAD, that was like the biggest thing was like how do we keep the natural reverberations and delays and echoes of the room in the track while you're listening to it.
Mhm.
We even had like we had like a bunch of what I call them like flavor microphones, like just like hidden basically throughout the room. There was one like in the loft, like at least 40 feet away from the drum kit, that would just like give this like crazy echo sound.
Oh,
It just
rad.
sound yeah, it just makes the room sound huge. They also had at Applehead, they have a real plate in like their back room. So just like I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're
Uh-uh.
huge. Like it literally, it's a wall. It was like the entire room is just a reverb plate, And
Jeez.
yeah, there's songs like, you know, Superior, the beginning of Lovesick, where it has
Uh-huh.
that just like that snare and that huge echo that comes after. That's all from that plate reverb.
Really? I'll have to I'll go back and
Yeah.
listen to it. I want to
So
hear I love hearing those little things like
oh
that.
yeah, I love it too. So yeah, we printed a lot of that realness that was up at Woodstock, and all the guitars too. What made this record a little different is other Happy Fits records. We would track as a band, but we would just record drums, and then we'd overdub like all the guitars
Mhm.
and everything. And then, usually like Luke would be in there doing like 20, 30 takes by himself. This one, we had the girls and Luke, and then our friend Graham on bass. They were actually just playing the track in the room together because we actually had the space to do that. And then,
Oh, wow.
amps were in their own side
Yeah,
room.
sure.
But like that was so cool because then I was just behind the console in the control room, just like hearing my song played back to me, being able to make tweaks like live, which is like, feels like you're a wizard, when you're doing that
Sure,
kind of
yeah, you're
stuff.
like
Because you're like, yeah, change
yeah.
this guitar part, do that, do that, do
Yeah.
that. And it's like, yeah, that was the coolest experience. And everyone like really felt it too in the room when they would come back in. They'd be like, oh, this feels like a real like live rock song, which is the vibe that we wanted from the start.
Love it, man. Well, I think the album is amazing, and
Thank
your
you.
tour kicks off like a couple like Monday or something, or Tuesday. No, Saturday, I think, right? The day after
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah, that's our US tour. We actually just finished up 4 weeks in Europe
And
and the UK, and they learned the words very fast. Like it came out the 17th, and then our first show was the 24th. And
and they
like
knew all the lyrics to
they
the
were,
new
yeah, it
album.
was
Oh
so fun
man,
hearing people sing it in all the different accents. Like
I
that was the
bet.
coolest. Yeah, that was the coolest thing.
And songs that you had just put out, and you're in a
Yes.
totally different part of the world, and they know all the music. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
The kids are so fun over there. And I
That's
know it's gonna
rad.
be the same in the US, just a little bit bigger. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
in
wait.
Nashville. You're playing here next week, I think.
Yeah, are you coming? Definitely come.
I
It's
want to
gonna be-
check it out. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was coming up this quick, but I'll put it on my calendar.
Heck
And
yeah.
Pom Pom Squad, I've had them on my show before.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool. So
forgot her
nice.
name, the singer.
I
Um,
also don't know her name, but I can tell
you'll
you,
meet her. You'll know her well starting
yeah,
on Saturday.
this small world we live in, the music world, is like, so her manager is Taylor Allen, who used to play in Flip Turn, who
Oh, okay, I've had Flip Turn on as well. I love
yeah.
that band.
So and then Flip Turn and us, we used to play shows together like all the time. When we were all starting in the scene.
And-
And
yeah.
then also this last summer, 2 summers ago actually. So I was doing a songwriting camp, and in one of my sessions was Cody Fitzgerald, who produced the Pom Pom Squad records. So
Oh,
it
cool.
just felt like the universe was pushing us towards Pom Pom Squad, and
As
like,
the
yeah,
as the
and
feature on your tour.
exactly. And her new record rocks. I
Mhm.
love it. So I'm really excited to get to know her and play
That's
some
awesome,
massive
man.
shows together.
Well, I appreciate your time, Calvin. Thanks so much for doing this. And
Yeah.
hey, congratulate. I'm sober too, so I think that's rad that you guys were able to do that. And I loved
Yeah.
reading. Maybe it's was in the press release I got. I think maybe it wasn't you because you guys kind of did you kind of sat him down and did like a little like intervention thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was like a one-on-one intervention that we had, and I
Yeah,
think
because I think he says in this. I want to find the thing to quote him, but he basically said like he wasn't even mad at you, and that he just needed to hear what you had to say, and that he needed to do it for himself. And that's like that's like everything AA teaches, right?
yeah,
That I thought
yeah,
was crazy. I was like, damn, like he actually got it. Because most people get pissed and they're like, I don't need
yeah,
this. And the
exactly.
fact that it worked out the way it did, I think that's so cool, man.
Yeah, it was like a really just like it's really beautiful experience. It was hard. It was the hardest conversation I think I've ever had to have
Oh, I'm
in my
sure.
life. Yeah, 2023 was the year of hard conversations. There were a lot, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I realized after that year of like, okay, confrontation is hard, but it's so necessary for like any relationship, like just
Sure.
being able to communicate, especially with yourself. That's like sometimes you gotta take inventory on yourself.
100%. Well, I appreciate your time, Calvin. Thanks so much. I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Okay, whenever I get this question, I always say find yourself a team that, supports you, challenges you, most importantly, and yeah, just wants to collaborate with you. You can't do this alone. There's too much. There's too much. So find a team.
Bringin it back